Hello, everyone, and welcome to my desk. It's very exciting, I know. So, today we're going to be talking about the Gameball, which is this device right here. This is a trackball that was designed in order to play games, hence the name, Gameball. And ever since I started using it, people have been asking me how I have it set up, sort of asking me questions such as what are my key bindings, what sensitivity do I have it at, and I figured I might as well make a video answering those questions in one go. Now, that being said, it's going to be a rather short video, and so I decided to include one little modification that I have made to my game ball, as I feel it's actually quite important if you do plan on playing video games with it. And the modification that I have made is pretty simple. Essentially, I have added double-sided tape to the bottom of the game ball. Now, the reason for this is actually quite simple. In my personal opinion, I feel that the rubber pads that the game ball comes with by default are inadequate. They do not do their purpose, which is preventing the game ball from sliding around all over the place. Now, they work perfectly fine when you are doing daily work, such as browsing the internet or watching YouTube. But when it comes to playing video games, I find that the game ball has a tendency to slide around a lot, especially considering how the buttons on the game ball are designed so that, well, they are actually quite vertical. I'm trying to give you a good example here, but as you can see, they are actually pretty vertically placed, and so you actually have to put quite a good amount of horizontal force in order to depress them. And yeah, that's not good. You don't really want a trackball to be sliding around all over the place. The only thing that should be moving is this ball up top. So yeah, double-sided tape, or I have also experimented with rubber feet such as these. So if you can't find double-sided tape, you can use these as well. And one little tip that I do want to mention is you do not want to buy the strongest double-sided tape that you can find, because you do still want to be able to pick up the trackball after you're done using it. I made that mistake, so yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. Anyway, moving along, let's actually talk about the stuff that you do care about. So, button key bindings, what have I changed? Well, essentially, by default, this button right here is the left click, and this button right here is back. And what I have done is I have swapped these two buttons in a software known as Xmouse. And the reason I have done this is because I have small hands. So when I'm using this trackball in its default configuration, if I were to try to reach the trackball at the very top, I would have to stretch my fingers, and as a result, I wouldn't be able to get the full range of movement. And so by swapping the buttons, as you can see here, I have a lot more range on where I can go. Another thing to mention is, for whatever reason, there is a ridge, and I'm not really sure if you can see it. I'm going to try my best, but there is a ridge on the bottom button. And I don't know whether or not it's because I don't really know how to push buttons, or once again, my hand is too small, but I have a tendency to push on that ridge. And when you're doing it over and over again, well, it starts to hurt. And so that's also another big reason as to why I swap to this button as my left click. Now, on the other side, this is actually the right click, and this is the forward button. I have not done anything to change that. That is still the same by default. And for those of you who are wondering, whenever I play a first-person shooter game, I actually do use hold. So whenever I am playing, I am actually squeezing this button the entire time. I am not toggling. Now, the last thing to talk about is sensitivity. That one is a little bit more frustrating and more confusing to explain because truth be told, I actually don't have a set sensitivity. When it comes to DPI, that is based on my monitor resolution. For example, right now I am on a 1440p monitor, and on this monitor, I run at 1200 DPI. Now, if I were to move over to my laptop, which has a 1080p screen resolution, I would be running at a DPI of 800. And so as a result, there's a little bit of flexibility when it comes to what I actually use for my sensitivity. In game, my sensitivity is actually based on my ball flicking. Essentially, what I want to do is be able to flick the ball at a reliable rate, where every time I flick the ball, I am able to perform a near perfect 180, and I'm able to perform it over and over and over and over again. Essentially, if I'm able to do that, that is the sensitivity that I will have the Gameball set at. And so there really isn't a set number. It's really more of going into a firing range or whatever the tutorial setting is for that particular game and just flicking the ball over and over again until I'm able to reliably do a 180 over and over again. So yeah. And that is really essentially it. Those are my settings for the Gameball. I hope that was helpful. I hope that helps you along your journey of the Gameball tracking gaming experience. This video isn't sponsored, by the way. I'm just going to cover that track up. And I really do want to mention that this double-sided tape trick, please, if you are planning on getting the Gameball, I hope you consider it because, as I said before, the Gameball does have a tendency to slide around without it. And the one thing that you don't want to be doing when it comes to using a trackball is using more force than necessary in order to grip it, because that isn't really good for your hands. So I will hope to see you guys next time. I hope this video was helpful, and yeah, bye bye.